So here we are back in SketchUp working on drawing 8 orthographics and 3D again. And this time we're going to, in SketchUp, we're going to draw from worksheet 7, we're going to draw object D. And just like I did before, I'm just checking to make sure that my face style is X-ray and that I got my toolbars on. My camera should be in parallel projection. Just a few things to check before we get going. And I would like to, use one view that's down here to sort of cut the footprint, or the side view, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. And last time I used the top view, but let's just use the face view this time, the front view. And so this time I'll be drawing on this face, and we'll use in SketchUp the rectangle tool, and I'm going to start it down there on the origin. Now it wants to draw sort of by default on the what I call the flow, or the horizontal plane there. And you can use on your keyboard, you can use your arrow keys, which is next to your keypad, and each arrow flips it, sort of locks it onto this. So that was the left arrow that got this rectangle to lay out on the front face. So that was how I did that. And now I'm just going to put in the overall dimensions, which from my face view, I can see that the front is 5 units on the W, the width, and so that's 5 comma, and then the overall height of it is 3. We're going to do this a little differently. And then I know the overall depth, if I use my push-pull, my overall depth of that face is 4. So I click on the face and type in the 4, and now I have a box that sort of looks like the outer dimensions of my object. And now I'm going to use my pencil, and I'm going to just sort of start cutting away the parts that I don't need. I can see that I have a rectangle up here that cuts through. So I'm going to start on this corner, and I'm coming down 1. So now I have that little point right there. And I'm going to go over 3. Again, I'm on the front face. And I'm just going to close it off right there. Now, if I've done this right, I should be able to go to push-pull and just, oops, push that. Now it got caught on the wrong surface there. So that looks like the outer edge of my front view. And now I'm going to do something as well, maybe a little odd. I'm going to go over to the left side, because this is a step-backed surface now, right? And I want to cut the right side shape, but I think it might be easier if I do it on the left side. I just sort of have to keep track of my mirror, right? So I'm going to start over here, and the left side has comes up here 1. So now I have that, and then it goes this way 2 units, and then it goes this way. So I've broken it down into horizontal and vertical components. It goes that way 2. It should be up on the top there, like that. And now I can connect those 2 points and get rid of those. I'm sort of creating this shape here that is a mirror of the right side. And now I can use my push-pull to cut that through. It'll cut that far, and I can clean up those extra lines. And then let's just finish the push-pull. bathroom. And we'll clean up a few little extra. Be careful when you're erasing that you don't accidentally get some of the hidden lines that are behind. There. Now I have my I'm getting there. So now look at the top view. I can see that this is empty space. From the top view, this is empty space. So that whole remainder needs to be, you get lost, just go back to your, I'm using that as my home view. And there we go. So now use the 3 faces to sort of cut that away. And we'll put it back in ISO. And because we're going to be making a 2D graphic, I, sort of adjusting my window now so that it has sort of a nice height to width ratio for the window, because this is just going to be a screen grab when we get done. So it's not going to be very intelligent. So I think that looks good. So then we go over to export 2D graphic, and we'll go back over here to Sketchup 7D, and we'll call this Rev 2. Play match. And we can go over here to PowerPoint, and I'm on the, put it on the 0 layer. I like to be on the 0 layer when I'm importing anything. And now I lost my little, no I didn't, let's pull that back. So now we can go to, on this menu, it's Insert, Attach, and we find our most recent is right there. And say okay. Now this time we'll use this bottom corner, and I don't have any snaps on, so I have to kind of let's see, adjust this a little bit. Let's see if we got weird snaps on. I'll just do intersection here. Yeah. And then we're going to use a scale factor of 1. And just kind of adjust it to fit in here. And I'm sort of eyeballing that. And if that doesn't look quite right, I can, but see, it's only gonna adjust the height and the width, but keep the ratio. So now let's just go back to home and use our, let's just use a temporary layer of border. We decided we didn't like that. We'll put it on projector. It's current layer. And sometimes if you put something on a layer that has too close a color, then it'll be hard to differentiate the two. So here I have my rectangle tool, and this time we're going to box in, and I'm just using reference points. Get that box in there. And then we'll do the same thing on this, only it won't want to grab very much that's on that 2D graphics. I have found a parent intersection works though. So if you go and you snap here and you use a parent intersection, you can get that there. So now I have my rectangle up for both of them. And I'm going to do my little move command. So go back to move. And now this time I make sure that my that on geometric center, and we'll just turn off those others. And now we can move everything. I'm using a box, and I'm going to hover and pick that geometric center of the box that I just selected, and then I'm going to hover. And this is why I like to just have, oh, I forgot to put the rectangle on the frame. And so again, we have to make sure we have the right snaps on for every operation. It can be a little bit slow, but Patience. So we're going to have a rectangle there. Now I could have drawn those originally with rectangles, but I didn't. And now we should be able to go back to home and go to move and select everything that's in that box. Hover on my box until I get, now you'll see, I have to, this is why I have just the geometric center on, so that it finds my, sometimes it's having to choose between too many things. And then here I've hovered on the outer rectangle and I've gotten the geometric center snap highlighted in green. I click and now I've moved that, and we can repeat the command by hitting enter, and I can select. Now make sure you select both the 2D graphic and the rectangle here, and I've selected, so I hit space bar, and now I'm hovering over my first rectangle, getting that snap, and then hovering over my second rectangle and getting that second snap. So it's moving them nicely over there. So now we're getting pretty close to having this all done. Right? So we just want to get rid of extra things now, like those rectangles. And that looks really nice. And we can get rid of these. These were just for reference. And I have that locked. If you lock a layer like that, that's the guide layer. It's locked, so I'll unlock it, and it makes it easy for me to work with those lines without selecting the grid underneath them. Alrighty, so now we have our AutoCAD drawing, just about ready. And here we are, and we have someone else's name in there, but that's okay. Double clicking in the viewport to activate the viewport, and then I'm going to type Z, enter, and then E, enter, which is zoom extents, and I'll say, oh yeah, all right, I got some trash over here because I was moving. So we can double click the middle mouse wheel or hit Z, enter, E, enter. So now it's zoomed in max, but it's centered overall. The frames are centered, and then now our instructions are to print this 1-to-1. So there that is, and it's a good thing to lock that. Put it back into paper space, and now that's ready to print.